Okay then. So I have to admit that I'm not getting as much feedback as I'd like from these videos, in spite of the fact that I put my email at the end of pretty much every one of them. But I'm sort of like imagining uh, various kind of like scenarios. My favorite suggests that I'm doing such a good job of explaining pattern betting that nobody has any questions. And then the nasty one says only the enemy are watching these videos, and they're waiting for me to crash and burn in ignominy and bankruptcy and nastiness and whatever. And I don't think either of those is particularly likely. But one thing that did kind of like sneak through was the notion that by suggesting, well, not just suggesting, but demonstrating that casino table games, games of chance, negative expectation games, whatever, can be beaten. I'm doing a great disservice to gamblers. I'm misleading them and treating them as fools and so on. And I find myself wondering, well, what does that say about card counting, which is it's not vigorously promoted, but it's constantly talked about as being a way to beat at least the game of blackjack, none of the others, but at least blackjack. And I've never been able to support card counting as being a rational, reasonable, logical, mathematical method of setting bet values and overcoming the house advantage. I mean, I haven't done tens or hundreds of thousands or millions of rounds with card counting included, but I've certainly done many thousand. And you'd think that that would be enough to show that when the deck value is two or higher, that's the true count, not the running count, the true count, meaning the running count, which is adjusted for the number of decks that are left in the shoe. When the true count is plus two or more, there must be more player wins than losses, and there just aren't. It just doesn't happen. But anyway, that's that. And then if I'm doing harm to naive gamblers who, because of me, might be encouraged to take their life savings to Las Vegas and put everything down on red. What about these professional losers on YouTube who play incredibly badly, stupidly, irresponsibly, recklessly, dangerously, suicidally, and never mention the fact that they don't care about losing because they make so much money from Google? I mean, you'll never see Mr. Handpay, for instance, who plays incredibly badly sometimes, saying, well, of course, I just lost 35,000, 37,000, whatever, whatever, whatever. But I don't care because the casino is going to give it back to me, or I'm going to get the money back from Google at the end of the month, I mean, none of that ever comes up. And of course, the more that you watch these guys, the more you realize they are not putting everything online. They are picking very carefully through their content creation and deciding what to put up based on, okay, so you've got to stick a little bit of a few losing sessions in there to make things credible, but you want to make sure that the winning sessions are more numerous and more exciting and whatever than the losing ones. And Mike Shackelford, the Wizard of Odds, in his recent little not rant, but his commentary about that in one of his recent Ask the Wizard Anything videos, said that he's convinced that they cherry pick because winning videos are more exciting more entertaining for viewers than losing ones. I'm not even sure if that's true, but either way, anyway, I got to get started, and I'm very sorry, but I suppose what I've done is I've created a platform for myself to sort of talk about some of the things that used to bug me when I lived in Nevada and watched all sorts of horrible things going down in casinos. Anyway, got to start a new shoe. Here we go. Got a new day. Boom, boom. And did I set it on fast? I actually managed it that time. And here we go. Double for the loss. I must admit I prefer baccarat because it moves faster. 1, 2. That's 3-2. Gonna go to blackjack. 3-2 is the bet. Oh dear. It's very slow, isn't it? Now it's 3-4 for the push. The way that works is that don't respond to a push by increasing the bet if the bet value is higher than 100. But if it will enable you to go from a routine, like sort of, what was that, 3-2 to 3-4, which makes it a turnaround rather than a recovery bet, then and there is a distinction. That's a little bit confusing, I guess. Mid-recovery bet is what I should have said. A mid-recovery bet. If you can convert it from a mid-recovery bet into a turnaround bet, only potentially, nothing guaranteed, then do it. And if he'd pulled a 7 up there, I'd have been quite disappointed. Okay, back to the men. Yes, no response from the Wiz yet about getting back to turbo. I just think it's extraordinary. On my spare laptop, I can get it at high speed, but on this one, I can't. On this computer, I can't. That doesn't look like it's going to work, but it might. Oh. Okay, 2-3. Is it 2-3? No, I think it's 3-4, probably, isn't it? 3-4 third. Don't do it. Oh, look at that. Oy, oy, oy. Busted! Nicely. Okay. Sorry, I'm allowed to get excited, aren't I? Just a little bit. Don't get a 10. Oh, bugger you then. Pardon me. It's a conspiracy. 1-2. Okay, now we're on 3-2, so let's go back to baccarat. 5-4. 1-2, 3-4. 1-2. 3-4. Thank you, player. +1. 51. Second. Repeat. Minimum. Double for the tie. 51 second. Repeat. Minimum. Double for the tie. 2-3 third. 1-2-3. How about that? Excuse me. 1-2 third. 3-2 back to blackjack. I want to. Ugh. 3-4. 1-2 3-4. 7-8. Third. Oh dear. Okay, so that's 15-8, which is 15-10, which is a drop to 3. Excuse me. Oh dear. 18-10. That's just rude. Okay, so 15-10 it is. That ain't going to work. All right, maybe it is. So 4-5. 9-10 second. Oh dear. 21, 21, 21, 20. So that's 2.5, 2, which is a drop to 500. Just enough. Okay. Sorry. 2-2 now. Oh boy. That's it. All right. Well, that made us some money, didn't it? Back to the men. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly true that I am saying that this is a better method than random betting or flat betting. But I am saying repeatedly, don't even think about trying it if you don't have a shitload of money behind you, because that's common sense. That is how it is. If you go to any of these games, especially if you're starting with a 25 minimum, you've got to be thinking in terms of at least a possibility of spreading 1 to 1,000, which is 25 to 25,000. And even that is pushing it. So the message I'm constantly trying to get across is these games shouldn't be touched unless you can afford to win. I mean, people say, well, don't ever bet money you can't afford to lose. Who can afford to lose any money at all? How does it make any sense? I mean, so that's why I always say if you can't afford to win, don't bet. And it's not a moral judgment. It's none of those things. All I'm saying is you won't beat them because they've got more money than you do, and they can ride out your winning streaks, which are losing streaks to them. They can just go blindly through, knowing that you're going to crash and burn eventually. So what the hell was that? Bust it. 22 again? Yeah, good. All right. +1, excuse me. Oh, dear. Damn it. I haven't even had people coming on to me saying, yes, I know the cure for that cough of yours, or that splutter, or those barking noises you make, or sneezing, or whatever. Nobody's offering any help at all. Well, you took your time up there, didn't you? +1 again. Oh, dear. Okay. 1-2. Very nice. Keep this up, will you? Yeah, just lately we've had a few really easy rides, which I'm grateful for, but suspicious of, because the other shoe always drops, so to speak. I think that's a plus, isn't it? Oh, okay, so that's 2, 3. Oh, nicely. Back to the min. +1. Yeah, I'd love to hear from people to say to me, what is entertaining about gambling as a spectator sport? I mean, I wish I understood it. Vegas Matt is nudging towards 1.2 million subscribers now. And, I just, what? Excuse me again. 51 second. I think it's the second. That's a repeater. One, two, second. Uh-oh. All right. Back to the min. Double for the loss. One, two, third. Okay, one, two, third, 3, 2. Let's go back to baccarat. 3, 2. 5, 4. Oh. 9, 10, third. Okay, so 19, 10, so 2, 1, and we're going to wait for the bank. There it is, P1. P2. Okay, so we're 2, 1 on the bank. 3, 2 on the bank. 1, 2, so it better be 1, 1.5 for the commission. 2.5, 3, 1, 2, 3. Damn! 5.5, 6 is the third. That's awful. Okay, so 12, 6. Well now, wait for player. B1. Okay, 12, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 18, 12. You know, something I haven't done for a long time is throw a shoe away. So I'm going to do that, I think, because look at this, 9 wins and 20 losses. So what did I say? 9. Oh, I've lost myself now. Got to do a little think here. I think I'm supposed to have said 19.6. So let's call it 26, and I'm going to throw this one away. I'm walking away. Excuse me. I think what we need to do is wait for player. Did I say 26? Am I completely mad? Well, I can't go to 20, 21, so I've got to leave that alone. Okay, so now it's 12, 12, which I'd better make 12, 13, I think. Okay, well, we seem to be out of trouble there. So the session balance has now gone to 2,150. And for those of you who I frequently address, you know, the ones who sort of say, well, you just got lucky. Luck has nothing to do with any of this. Nothing whatsoever to do with it. Consistent betting and big bucks. That's what's behind it all. Discipline, tactics, strategy, a shitload of money. That's it, you know. And of course, staying sober and believing, you know. Let's go over to blackjack again. We've got 2,150 over here, and we got 3,825 over there, and we've been playing for a little less than 19 minutes. Not great, but not terrible. Double for the loss. Repeat that one. 51. 2, 3. That might work. What? Thought it was an ace coming there. Okay, back to the men. Double for the loss. Well, that was cheeky. And that's a repeat, isn't it? Don't answer that. And that's a double for the tie because it's under 100 or under. Double for the push, I beg your pardon. I think that's good enough to put us back on the min. You know, you bet randomly or flat at these games, you're mad. That's all I can say. 51. I watched this guy playing baccarat at the Rio, and he sat down with 130,000, right? And the table max is 10,000, and he bet 10,000 each time. Flat betting 10,000. Lost 30,000, and then moaned about what a terrible game baccarat is and what you should do is spend your life sports betting. Seemed to me like he was high on something, but you know, you sit down with 130,000, and that's the best you can manage. Just bet the max every time. I mean, duh. I think that's a repeat. Got to be a double. Oh dear. Okay, that looks like a 4-5 to me. That's good. Minimum. Yeah, you do see some crazy shit if you watch those gambling channels. You really do. I should bloody well think not. Flipping heck. That ain't gonna do nothing. 1, 2. 3, 4. Third, I think. All right, so we got 5,125 over here. And going back to baccarat, a mere 2,150, but we are what, 23 minutes in right now? Minimum. Got a lot to go on this shoe, so I think I've got to try and play this off without too much trouble. But I'm not in control, remember. 2, 3, third. 5, 3, hoppity hop. Okay. 5, 3, 2, 4 for the commission. It's a turnaround bet. 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Minimum on the bank. Double for the loss. Repeat. Minimum. +1. +1. Double for the tie. 2, 4. Minimum. Yes, I am not promoting gambling. I'm attacking stupid gambling, and I'm specifically attacking the kind of gambling that you see all over the gambling channels on YouTube. And if any of those guys say they're not there to promote gambling, then they're either bloody liars or incredibly stupid. Um, it's just ugh. 51, 52 on the bank. 3-5, third on the bank. Oh, well done, banker. Back to the min. +1. Oops. 51. Repeat. I shouldn't have been 51. I should have been 52, shouldn't I? 1-3. I'm mucked up there. 4-6, third. 10-6. B1. B2. It does drive me nuts, but there's nothing you can do about it. B3. Oh dear. 10-6. 1, 2, 1, dip, 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 dip. 10-6. All right, now we can go 10-11. Okay. 21. 25. So 4-5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damn it! I do hate ties. I really do, with a passion. All right. So 9-10, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Okay. So we've got 3-6-60 for the session balance after 27 minutes, and over here we've got +5, 1, 2, 5. So we're doing well. I've got to keep playing off here because we're coming to the end of this session, I think. Double for the loss. 1, 2, third. Minimum. +1. Double for the tie. I think that's good enough. Oh, no, it's not. What am I talking about? That's 1, 2, 5 now, isn't it? Plus max. My choice. I'm going to chase that. All right, I'm going to call that quits and go back to the minimum. Double for the tie. +1. 1, 2. Minimum. Uh, 51. 2, 3, third. Oh, 5-3. Let's go back to blackjack. 8-6. 14-15, third. That's mean, isn't it? That's not working. Okay, so 14-15, so that's 29, so that's 3, 1.5. So the drop better be 1. Oh! 4, 1.5. Say, let's call it 4-2. All right, so let's call it 3-2. Can't do much about that. 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. 9, 10 is the third. Eeps. 9, 10 is the third. Well, will you look at that? Okay, so let's do a quick count up here, and please don't tell me I just got lucky. I didn't get lucky. You know, what people don't understand when they say stupid things like that is that in order to get into high bet values, you must have got unlucky. So there's likely to be some kind of offset. It may not be exactly what you won't get exactly the number of winning bets back, the number of losing bets that got you into shit in the first place. But at least you'll get in that direction, because there has to be offsets, because otherwise the house advantage for the game of blackjack, for instance, wouldn't be sort of like less than 1%. It would be like 20%, 30%, 50%. But it's not. So there we are. Anyway, you got 7,225 over here, and 3,633.75 over there. And I think that's pretty bloody good. I don't know what you reckon, but it ain't bad. And yeah, I can't. I wanted to move it out of the B plate. There we go. All right, so just to go back over here, we've got money, 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 money over there. I guess my work here is done. I'll see you in a bit. All right, I just did a Dumbo there. I didn't finish the shoe. That's just messy, so I'm going to finish it. Double for the loss. Repeat. Don't much of it, I don't think. Double for the loss. Repeat. 51. Second. 2, 3, third. That's good. Back to the min. +1. +1. 1, 2. 3, 4. Come on, play it. Here we go. Getting down to the wire now, I think, on this one. Double for the loss. All right, I don't think I'm going to worry about that one. So we ended up with 4,008, 4,009. So save that shoe. And I should go and look at both of them, shouldn't I? Including the one that I bailed out of. What counts is the session balance. So this one went tits up on us. 9s into 3, 4, 2, 5, and 20 into 20, whatever. So clearly, the mission to win more when we win than we lose when we lose was not successfully accomplished. But never mind. Next time, I think we succeeded nicely. 29 into 28 and 28 into 7. I mean, talk about a dramatic switch. And there's nothing crooked, nothing fake, nothing mystical, magical, mathematical, or anything else in any of these demos. They are all played absolutely straight. And I'm really grateful to Baccarat Win Pro, because they number every shoe and they time every shoe, and they just, I mean, when I say they keep me straight, it's not that I need to be kept straight. I don't, because I completely understand that, you destroy everything, your reputation, your sort of legitimacy, your everything, if you cheat. There are some people who cheat at golf, because it makes them feel good. But in the end, they can't feel good. They must feel bad because they cheated to win. And when you cheat to win, you didn't win. So what's the point? But anyway, that's something for them and their consciences, I reckon. But we have come to the end of another successful session, and I'm grateful for your company. Thank you very much. And here's where we stand on the front page right now. Some reds in there, but most of the reds were offset by very handy wins from blackjack. So nothing to worry about, really, eh? See you next time. Yeah, so the gaming control board in Nevada, they still don't call it gambling in Nevada, uh, just put up their March figures for this year. And the reason that I use Nevada for these sort of summaries every so often is that, as far as I know, nowhere else in the world provides this much detailed information. And basically, the games are the same everywhere. I suppose some places cheat, some places don't. But as far as I'm aware, after many years of living in the state and playing in the state, Nevada does not cheat at games. They do introduce nasty corruptions of traditional games, which are much harder to beat than the old-fashioned versions that I prefer and will only play. But that's neither here nor there. But I do this only because it's a reminder to all of us that the numbers that are quoted frequently for these games, like sort of less than 1% against the player at blackjack and 1.3 to 1.35% against the player at baccarat and 2.6 or 5.2% at roulette, depending on which game, either the old-fashioned European version, the original, or the crooked American versions with either 2 or 3 zeros. What are the numbers there? 2.6, 5.2, and you must be daft for 3 0 roulette, and on, and it's just worth seeing that the casinos in Nevada made 14% from 21, 16% from craps, which is supposed to be 1.41% for the house. Roulette, as I said before, 2.6 or 5.2, depending, 18.1. Ultimate Texas Hold'em, which is usually quoted as being somewhere around 2%, shows up here as 23%. Three-card poker, which is an absolute bloody travesty, and particularly makes my blood boil, because when I was a teenager, when I first went to work for an evening newspaper in Birmingham in the UK, I used to go to the press club most afternoons when we finished work, and we'd sit down with a few beers and play a game called Brag, which is 3 cards, and you play either blind or open. And, I would always use my expenses. I'd be paid my expenses on a Tuesday in cash in a little brown envelope, and I'd take them to the press club, and I'd either, sort of lose all my expenses, or which were crooked, by the way. I mean, that's the newspaper business. That's traditional. It's just how it is. It's the golden goose. And I'd either lose my £4 or £5, or I'd double my money and happily get on the bus and go home. And 3-card poker is just a knockoff of Bragg. It was apparently invented by a fellow Brit whose name escapes me, but I did have some communication with him during the battle against electronic casino machines in bookies, in bookmakers shops, bookmaker shops. It's a concept that Americans don't understand, I've discovered, but there are these places on main streets all across the UK where you can go in and place a bet on sports or on horse racing or on whatever they'll take, which is most things. And they had these machines that were just so damn crooked. They were all set at about a 4% house edge, and they made billions. and the things were legal until this campaign that I joined in, and I was just a peripheral kind of influence, but I did a lot of numbers work, spreadsheet work, and I think I played my part. And they were stamped out; they were just basically banned. So that was good. Anyway, just to get back to the topic at hand, you look at Keno, which is, are you crazy? Let It Ride is another terrible. Pygao Poker, 21%. Racebook and Sportsbook, it comes down a bit. I mean, like Sports Pool, I don't know what that is, 6%. Other, 20%. And then you come to the slot machines, as you can see over on the far right. You know, they range from, at best, 4.5% against the player to, at worst, what are we looking at up there? 8%. Used to be one that was like 10% against the player. But anyway, there you have it, you know. And I put this up every so often. I hope it's helpful. To me, it's a great guide. It's a constant, steady reminder that, you know, what you think you know about games of chance, you don't know at all. So I'm trying to put that straight. I'm trying to help people with that. But you can lead a horse to water, as they say. See you next time. All right, this is the Excel analysis of the set of bets that you've just sat through or sped through, doubled up time, did whatever. You know, this is what actually happened, and it was an overall house advantage, in fact, of 2.8%, because here what's taken into account is not winning hands versus losing hands, which is the most obviously straightforward and simple and logical way to say, okay, so how many hands did you win and how many hands did you lose? You know, and that's what the calculation that I gave you at the end of the video, that's what that was all about. Whereas here, what I do is I say, okay, what about doubles? Doubles are -2. You know, so lost doubles are -2, won doubles are +2, naturals are +1.5, and so on. So that brings down the house edge, which I'm fine with, because I know that pattern betting will enable me and anybody who tries it, anybody who learns it and starts to put it to work, will enable them to beat the house even when they win fewer bets than they lose. And that's really what it's all about. So when I do one of these and it turns out to be a player edge session, I'm not too happy about it, because, you know, I always say, you know, sort of a chimpanzee on speed could probably beat those odds. But anyway, this is what we've got now. It's 70 wins and 74 losses, so it's not terrible. The algorithm, Algae, managed a win of 5,000, basically. Average win, 340, 240, average loss 160, so that's an advantage, average win over average loss of 150%, and that's what you have to pursue. And, you know, I've stopped arguing with people who say it's just not possible, because I know that they're either very, very stupid, or they're saying it because they've been told to say it. Because anybody who stops and thinks about it for a couple of minutes, and anybody who has access to a pencil and a piece of paper, can very quickly figure out the realities of that. And that's why I have this sort of back of an envelope thing here, you know, which does the job. But anyway, just to kind of cut to the chase, because it's getting late in the day, as you can see once again, and I want to try and get this up if I can, because most of my subscribers and viewers are in the USA, and on the Western USA at least, you're 8 hours behind me. So it's only sort of just before noon in Nevada right now. I do seem to have quite a number of followers in Nevada, which makes sense, doesn't it? What you'll see here, of course, from these lines is you'll see dear old Algae performing very gently and very sensibly and doing a great job, whereas crazy me, who makes mistakes and flings money all around and all the rest of it, and I do my best. I mean, I think in all fairness, if you sit through a whole one of these demos, you'll see I'm not tilting. I'm not going batshit crazy like Mr. HP or Vegas Matt, or certainly not Crazy Cody Burn Money. Uh, you know, or even Bobby Rivas, who I think is well, I don't know. I think probably Casino King, the modest guy who calls himself Casino King. I think he may be the most likable of the gamblers, with channels with creative content, as they call it, on YouTube. But that's neither here nor there. You don't care about my opinion. I care very much about yours, but that's a whole different thing. I'm on a different side of the relationship. So there you have it. We've got a situation where in fact, my calculation is 13,400 win in real time. I think it came out in the video, and my summary at the end, it came out at about 10,000. But I'm not going to sweat that. If somebody challenges me on the outcomes, then I think the thing to do is for them to go through the video step by step, and I will certainly be happy if anybody ever challenges me to say, okay, here are the outcomes that I recorded, and you can decide for yourself whether I'm cheating or not. And of course, I'm not. And really, I have to admit, I'm kind of paranoid, but only because for many, many years, I took so much abuse online. I mean, sometimes it was threatening, which I always assumed was somebody working for the casino business. I had one guy who demonstrated his incredible skill at detective work and all the rest of it, who told me exactly where I lived and who else lived in the house and who else lived on the ranch, who owned the property, how old their kids were. I mean, it got really weird. And funnily enough, I think the guy was in England. As best I could, because I did some research of my own, and the best thing I could discover was that he was in one of the big cities. He was working for a casino in one of the big cities. I think it might have been Liverpool, but I don't know, and I don't care, to be honest. But the guy was a prick, and he was just out for trouble, really. Interesting thing, actually, that I just enjoyed very much. I just tripped over it. It's the way YouTube kind of like chucks things at you. There was a guy, very, very clever, erudite, very bright-looking fellow, very articulate, whose name I've already forgotten because it was Chinese, I think. But he's a card counter. He was part of the MIT team years ago. So that was, 30-odd years ago at least. So he's a guy in his 50s now, I guess. But he said absolutely flat out, somebody asked the question, and he's doing this sort of little Q&A thing. Somebody asked the question, why did casinos have table limits? And he said, it's to beat the martingale. It's to beat people who use the martingale or variations of it, because they want to stop people from doing that. And, sort of there's nothing you can do about that, and it's a waste of time to try. And he was giving some sort of like logical advice. I mean, he was spouting the conventional wisdom, which is fine. But of course, what's overlooked with all of these people who attack progressive betting is that you don't have to allow the casino to say, okay, that's it, you can't bet more than X. You just back away, go somewhere else. I mean, especially if you're in Nevada, there's hundreds of bloody casinos. In Las Vegas alone, I think at the last count, it was like 110 or 130 or something stupid like that, And all you got to do is just go somewhere else. Find somewhere where the table limits are looser. You resume play with your down and out, and with your big bucks behind you, and you will turn it around. And the big difference, of course, with progressive betting, the way that this guy describes it, which is with the martingale, which is a sort of an uncontrolled double down, double up, double up, double up, and through 19 whatever. It pays only 1 unit in profit at the end. It does recover all your prior losses in the same bet, that also wins you 1 unit in profit. But I don't want any truck with that sort of nonsense. I mean, what I do, as you will have seen if you've watched any of these videos, is That's my pal in California, my baccarat buddy, who is amazing. He's doing incredible work, and pretty soon I'll put up the results of what he's just achieved. 3 sessions of 120 baccarat shoes collectively, and his total win is 1.5 million from those shoes, and it represents 5%. I had the numbers somewhere. It represents 5% of his total action, 5.06%. 1.54 million he won in those 360 shoes. Action was 30,440,000. Win was 1,540,000. As I said, that's a 5.06% hold of his total action. Really brilliant. He's using progressive betting, but he hasn't yet revealed to me the extra controls that he's put in. They're basically what I recommend, the same sort of thing, which is, sort of back off under certain circumstances. His thing, I think, is to take a loss of 50,000 and move on, because his reasoning, and it's perfectly sensible and logical, is that this strategy builds so quickly most of the time that it's easy enough to recover 50,000. It doesn't take that long. I'm kind of opposed to that idea simply because I hate losing, but I'm open to any suggestions that I get from anywhere, especially somebody as smart as he is, because he's really put in an incredible amount of work, and he's also developed a very impressive program which deals 1,500 shoes in about 10 seconds, and line by line, bet by bet, and you can go through it. You can find out how many Dragon Sevens there are, and how many Panda Eights, and how many naturals there are, and all that sort of thing. You can read all of that once you convert it over to Excel. So he's an impressive guy, and I'm very grateful to him for his help, and I will call him back when I get there. Just to finish off here, going down to online reality. This is, as I said, it's more than it should be. I think it's about $3,000 more than I'd estimated, but I'm not gonna sweat that. 161 bets, about a 3% house edge, which is about half what I gave at the end of the video. Real play, the spread was 520 to 1, and for Algae it was 400 to 1. So and this is all I can do for you folks, is to just say, look, you've got to decide at some point whether you think I'm a lunatic, whether you think I'm crooking all these Excel analyses. You've got to decide whether the stuff that you're seeing in front of your eyes with me winning and winning and winning and winning, and should I add winning and winning and winning and winning as well? You've got to decide whether I'm doing something weird to make that happen, or whether there actually is something to this strategy. So I'll leave it up to you. It's like I always say, take it or leave it. And don't bend over rules. I'm not applying them in full right now, because I'm doing this sort of like bopping back and forth from blackjack to baccarat and back again. So I haven't felt the need, to do the notebook thing where, you just break off and fall back to a minimum at a certain point, and then when you go to a higher rent or higher rolling casino, you play off the dangling turnarounds, the unresolved, unrecovered totals. So that's it. I'll catch you again, I'm sure, at some point. I hope so. Bye.